Hi, Damien. So, hope you had a good weekend.
Very good, thank you.
Day 3 with me.
Yep.
How'd you go with breaking up the content?
Really good, actually. So I went through and, yeah, as I've flagged before, probably got too much content, but the total thing is about 8.25 hours worth of delivery. So that's from go to woe, that's set up, that's putting people into groups, that's getting them thinking around what they need to do, some application and the like. So the total content is about 8.25 hours. Of that, 2 hours, 50 minutes is static. So that is the education about the framework, the education about the tool, limited, so no interaction. That's the static content.
Well done. Oh, you really are my star student. You do your homework. So was that an interesting exercise to do?
Yeah, it was. It was really interesting, and it's interesting from both perspectives. So it's interesting in terms of this process that we're going through, and it's also really good. It's forcing you to reflect back on, okay, so how have I been working in the past? And I think the outcome of this process is going to be, one, a great product, and two, a sharper delivery as well. So it's really beneficial.
Fantastic. So the next step is, what have you decided? Are you going to film it yourself, or are you going to get someone to film it for you?
Well, I think I'm going to mention I've got a very talented friend, Nish Paranavatina, and who is a videographer from Nish Photography. So giving him a plug because he's a good mate, and he's one of those annoying people. He's a finance person. He's a photographer. He's a videographer. He writes and sings songs on Facebook while we're in this COVID virus every day. He's one of these multi-talented people. Anyhow, he's helping me today, so really looking forward to that. In terms of really just as we talked about the other day, just trying to mix up the dynamics. So I think sitting like this can be really, really helpful. But I also want to actually do some other pieces as well. So to make it a bit more dynamic and a bit more interesting. All
right. Well, I'll give you a couple of hints on being in front of a camera, which I'm sure Nish will do too. And also They are varied. Depending on what you're filming. So you won't have to worry about things like lighting, which, as you can see, I'm sitting in front of a window and I've almost turned white. It's so bright here. So they're the kind of things you've got to get right.
Yep.
But turn your phone off.
Yep.
I know that sounds so basic, or put on flight mode. There's nothing more annoying than being through a big, huge thing and then all of a sudden the phone goes off. If you make mistakes, pause and let it be totally silent, because what happens when you're editing, you see the silence because the audio will go flat. It's very hard easy to find it.
Okay.
So and Nish was probably going to take you through this, but it's just handy things to know. I really like the idea of you being on your feet and animated, not just sitting in front of the laptop where we could be filming today. So use the things around you. If you use a whiteboard, if you use anything like that, really bring it alive, because that's what we're going to try and do.
Because I was pleased to see that was one of the questions. So in terms of whiteboard, flip chart paper, very old school. So that was my intent, was using those as again, visual aids, but also just to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, and it depends. If he's got 2 cameras, he might film a bit of that as well. But if he doesn't, that's what at VidVersity we'll do. We'll put that. We'll get a screenshot, or we'll get an image of that and we'll embed it in the video. We can do all that, but I really think, I know as a presenter, I use a lot of tools and they make me more animated and me more engaging. So I'm not always so concerned about, can you read it? We can deal with that later.
Yeah.
But be your best self on your feet. Be you.
Yep. Terrific. Great.
Okay. So have a great time doing it. And I can't wait to speak to you next when we go through the process of getting all the assets around it and starting to build something really interesting. So have a good day.
Terrific. Thank you.
See ya.
Cheers. Bye.